This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time. Content presented in the following podcast is for information purposes only. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guest and may not represent the views and opinions of the Whole Care Network. Always consult with your physician for any medical advice, and always consult with your attorney for any legal advice. And thank you for listening to the Whole Care Network.
Hello, my friend. Welcome to A Time to Care the Caregivers podcast. I'm Isabel Melgarejo, your host, and today with me, I have a very special guest. She has been in the podcast before. She's my sister, Fer Melgarejo. Neither of us have changed our last names throughout life because Mexicans, we don't do that. So we keep our last names through time. And today, I am super excited because we are celebrating 100 episodes of A Time to Care, the Caregivers podcast. It is a huge milestone, and I want to welcome Fer today with me. Welcome.
Hi, Isabel. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here with you.
I know you are freaking out because I didn't let you know what we were going to be talking about today.
Yes, you know that exactly, and that's right. I usually do not speak in English, so I'm afraid I'll be missing words, I'll be forgetting them, or I'll be doing a mess about this. But, well, I have the best attitude to celebrate with you this 100 episode.
The conversation topic is about celebration. For me, it is a very special topic because that's how we close our program with our clients. That's the last step. We celebrate. We celebrate that they concluded the program, that they are no longer overwhelmed, that they know how to manage their stress. That's why I want to talk about celebration, because it is huge. And I think 100 episodes require a huge celebration.
I agree with you. It has been many months of work, many conversations, lots and tons of time and effort from you to the public that's listening to us. And that's something important to celebrate. I agree with you. We have to celebrate, and we have to celebrate as well life, because every day we are here in the earth is to be celebrated and to be happy and to be recognizing everything that's given to us for free. So I'm happy you invited me to talk about celebration.
I know you have a very unique way of celebrating life. For example, Christmas, I know Santa Claus was never huge for your kids, and other celebrations throughout the year. You've always been very unique about celebrating. And I'm talking about Christmas and Santa Claus because okay, tell us about how you would celebrate Christmas.
Okay, well, first of all, I would like sharing with you that to celebrate something, this something has to have meaning for you. And that meaning will guide you on what you want to do and how you want to do it. So, talking about Christmas, when my children were small, I wanted them to be conscious that it was not a time to be receiving gifts, that it was a time to celebrate Christ's birth. So I was preparing with them Christ's birthday. So we were preparing for him a present. And well, the 24th, they were decorating the box where they were preparing this present. This present were random acts of kindness that they were writing in small pieces of paper and putting inside a box. And then they were wrapping this box nicely, and they were putting the box under the Christmas tree. And they were excited because here the issue was, will Jesus come and pick up his present? Will he like it? Will he be happy with this present we prepared for him? And they were excited the 25th, going to check under the Christmas tree if their present was taken. So that was the important thing, that they were excited about that. And well, I was telling them he was very, very happy with his present. And in return, he's leaving you this toy or this piece of cloth or, well, whatever the gift was for them. So it was giving a meaning, something meaningful for me, but also meaningful for them. And that was how we were celebrating. And also for Christmas meal, I was asking them, oh, what would you like for a party, for a very special party? There was a Christmas when one of them was saying, oh, for a very special party, the best thing to eat would be hot dogs. Okay, so let's then have hot dogs for Christmas dinner. And we were preparing hot dogs. And well, we continued with this.
I never knew about that.
You never knew about that?
I never knew about the hot dogs. I knew about the food, and I know you've never been traditional in the way that what you like dinner. You've never been traditional in the foods that you eat for Christmas. It's not like what every other family eats. You're just like, okay, this year it's gonna be whatever. But I didn't know one year you prepared hot dogs.
Yes, we did. Well, and the thing here is, how do we want to celebrate this party? So that's why we're not following traditional recipes. Because it's, well, okay, for this year, how would we like celebrating Christ's birthday? So once it would be with pasta or with salads, or, well, we changed the menu because it's a party, and we changed the menu for the party. That's why we will not follow common traditions for that.
Which other celebrations or traditions do you think are unique for you?
Well, for example, the Dead's Day,
Day of the
um,
Dead?
Day of the Dead, Day of the Dead. Well, there are certain rules on how to set the altar, and there are also like customs that should be followed. But here I also made of my own the tradition, and I made it like it's a special moment to remember those who are already gone. And how do I want to remember them? And again, when my children were small, it was talking to them about those who were already gone, what they liked to eat, what they liked to do. And in this remembrance, bringing things to the altar, and well, setting it up like similar as putting a Christmas tree. It was all working together and preparing this paper stuff and flowers and decorating. And it was like preparing for this special moment when we will be remembering, even though we will remembering before the day, all these persons that have already gone. When they grew up, then it's now that they remember by themselves, because there's people that had already gone now, and they say, oh, do you remember for our uncle, he liked so much going out with the dogs, and he liked plants, and he liked cinnamon. And now they have their own memories about people that's no longer here. So it's very rich to prepare this party, because everyone is giving ideas and remembering different things about these special persons. And we also decide, who do we want to set in the altar? Do we want all grandparents, or do we want only some of them? Or do you want an uncle, or do you want a cat that already passed away? Or so it's also like making it our own party and our own moment, and deciding how we want to live it, and with how much love we want to be there in that moment. Last year or 2 years ago, we were printing a family tree that Ceci, my daughter, was making. And well, she has like 4, 5, 6 generations up. So we were printing this family tree, and we were putting it in front of the altar. And it was like saying, wow, we're here because all of these people, we're here because they met, they loved one each other, they had children, and these children might be our great grandfather or our great 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 grandmother, and they had their own history. And because of all these people and all this love, we're now here, and we can celebrate, and we want to remember them. And then, well, of course, we don't know, I don't even know many of those in this family tree, but it's like saying thank you for life, And thank you that I'm here, and thank you that I'm here because all of these were here before me. And I thank life because, well, that's part of me. So that's why we make this party like different from tradition. We look to find our own tradition, what we like in our family, and what makes sense for us.
I know you were, at least your kids were never huge on birthday parties. Did they ever ask for a birthday party, or like how would you celebrate birthdays? Because I know you would do something special, but and maybe the parties were there, maybe I was just not invited to them. They
Well,
were not the traditional birthday parties. It's what I want to say.
well, they had some parties. Don't you remember a party when we had?
I remember a surprise party for Pablo. He didn't want to be with anybody, and he was like, I don't know, in a dark mood. So you asked me to prepare everything and have everything ready and welcome everybody, and then they had a party.
And then he arrived, and he was surprised, and he was the happiest.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. But don't you remember a party when Sissy was small? She was like 2 or 3 years old. That I prepared soap, and children were making bubbles of soap. And there was these plastic pools full of plastic balls, and they were jumping there and playing with the balls and making bubbles. And well, it was again like thinking, what would that person like, and make it meaningful for them. So for birthdays, what I usually do is, first of all, thanking for 1 year. I was diagnosed with a disease when I was 4 years old. And well, I didn't know until I was older because a friend told me that our mom told her mom that doctor said I wouldn't live more than 10 years. So I think it was a stressful situation in the family, but well, I know that I'm here because I don't know why, but I'm thankful. So every year I really say thank you for 1 year of life, for 1 year of opportunities, for 1 year of experiences that make me grow, that teach me, for places I visited, for people I knew, for, well, 1 year, a whole year of life and emotion and laughter and maybe also crying or problems, but it's a year of life. And so with my children, I also celebrate 1 year of life. They're also alive. And if we think about it, many people just die and couldn't finish their year, maybe to die one day before or 1 month or at the middle of the year. So ending a year of life, it's something to be celebrated. And well, that's what we do. We thank for the day, for the year. And well, then I ask them what they want to do. And every year this changes. Sometimes they want to go and have food in a fancy restaurant. Other years they are like, they're not sure what they want to do. Last year I was preparing a surprise party for my daughter. And it was quite fun because now the mom wasn't at all preparing. I just asked her friends to prepare it for her, and I would take her away from home. So I said, you're in charge of the party, you're in charge of my house, I'll give you the money and just make it very nice. And well, it was great. It was a real beautiful party. So it's every year, it's just like, well, what can we do this year? What do we want to do? What will make us happy? What will make us fulfilled? What will make our heart grow big and feel this emotion for life? And well, that's how we celebrate each year.
How do you celebrate? Because here at the company, you're the one who's always reminding me of celebrating. The idea of this podcast was your idea. The topic was not, but but you had the idea of celebrating. If it would have been for me, I wouldn't have done anything special. And I know that you celebrate a lot of our smaller wins. You celebrate when we have a very good conversation with a possible client. And you celebrate when we meet someone, a potential partner. So you're usually celebrating for me because I wouldn't celebrate, even though I'm huge on celebrations, even though I can throw the biggest party and plan 1,000 details, I sometimes forget to celebrate. So what do you consider to be the small or tiny celebrations or things that you celebrate just because they happened?
I think you can invent when it's the right time to celebrate. When pandemic started, remember we were told it was only going to be 1 week or 2 weeks to be inside our house. And then it took longer and it took longer. And then I was thinking, oh, sometimes we celebrate 100 years of Mexico's independence. Then we're living something real hard, being inside our houses, not being in contact with people we love, not being able to go outside and buy our groceries or buy clothes or whatever. And well, I thought we're going to be now 100 days inside our house. We can make a Zoom celebration for those 100 days. So it's like, do you remember we were playing games and I asked family members that we were all going to use a costume. Don't you remember our uncle Francisco? He was dressed like ancient judge with these white curls and the black and the black jacket. Do you remember? So it was like, well, what can we do with this that we have? We could have passed a day like another day inside our house, but it was a centenary. We're going to celebrate 100 days inside the house. So let's do something fun for these 100 days. So, well, now it's, well, when it's only the first time for something or the third time and it's something like a routine, I wouldn't be celebrating. But if you say, well, we have been doing this podcast for 100 weeks, that means almost 2 years, more than 2 years of being constant, of being perseverant, then it's something to be celebrated. And how can we celebrate it? Well, it has to come from our heart. I know that there are people listening to us and I would like celebrating with them. So I would invite everyone to do something they really like. If they're living in a country where it's already spring, well, then please go and take an ice cream, the flavor you like the most. And that will be a very nice celebration for us, that you're happy for us and you take your ice cream. If you're living in a country where it's starting to be cold, it's going to be autumn, then, well, maybe you could celebrate listening a song you like very much, a song that makes you happy and changes your mood. And, well, that could be a very nice celebration. So for this day, I would be inviting everyone that's listening to us, and I invite you and I invite myself to do something special that we like, that we enjoy, and with that to celebrate that it's 100 times we've been here working on this.
I agree. I think growing up with you, I never knew what was going to happen. I never knew what crazy idea you were going to have, and you were just going to do it.
Do you remember that time where we were giving our parents a special Christmas gift? You can tell the audience, please.
In Mexican culture, Santa Claus comes between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And then the night of January 6th, the kings, magi, or whatever, I think they're called differently in different cultures. They come and they leave more presents to the kids. And the magi in Mexican culture are more popular than Santa Claus. So a lot of kids don't receive anything for Santa Claus, but the three magi, so that's going to be the big celebration. And actually, like we don't even go back to school after January 6th. Like this is a huge celebration. So for 1 year, well, you decided that you were not going to give Christmas presents and you bought presents for everybody. So our mom has always been really good about putting presents underneath the tree on January 5. Well, the Magi.
Right, right.
She's always put something underneath the tree on January 5th. Always. But that year, she would wait until everybody would go to bed. So that year, everybody went to bed and we were just giggling and laughing, and she was just she was getting so mad that we were laughing and jiggling and talking, and we were not going to bed. I think she got just tired of us and just put the presents and went to bed. We started putting well, you put all the presents, and I was just making sure that nobody would come around.
But we were making a plan because we didn't want her to notice that she would be receiving a present. So we were waiting after she had put the presents there under the Christmas tree, and we were building with a pillow and with some dolls like my body to cover it, so that if she came to our bedroom, she thought I was sleeping. and, then, and then we had, I don't remember, but it was like a clue where I knew that if you were making this sound, then mom was awake and I should hide, not to be seen. So it was all the laughter because we were preparing this amount of cloth in my bed and all covered, simulating myself, and just in case mom came to our bedroom. And then taking the present downstairs and, well, putting it near the presents mom had already set on the Christmas tree. That was so much fun.
The most fun was the day after. We were both exhausted because, like, after that, we just keep jiggling until whatever time. And the next morning, she comes to her room and she was like so excited about the present.
Yes, that's true. She was like a 5-year-old kid that, let's go to the Christmas tree. You're right. You're right. That
Oh,
was so much fun.
it was so much fun. What would you say to people for them to either celebrate this podcast or whatever in their lives?
Well, I would say we live only once, and we always have the power to decide, how do I want to live the moment? Do I want to live it happily or not? We all have feelings, and of course we all get mad and we all get sad, but we have and we can decide, how do we want to live life? We want to live it with joy and finding things that give us purpose, or we want just to leave it like a dying plant or like a stone, without feeling, without being conscious of what's going on. I know that many families, it must be real overwhelming taking care of an old parent and being a caregiver. That must be exhausting. But even though in these situations you can find a moment where to connect with this person you're taking care, and you can find a moment of joy and maybe a moment of remembering when this person was fine. I would say now my children's father has brain cancer and he's visiting us. Well, he's every time he comes here, he's worse. He can walk less and he has more problems. And I was talking to my son in the morning and I was telling him living with him is difficult because he suffers and all of us around also suffer, because the man he used to be is no longer there. And the abilities and capabilities he could do, he can no longer. He needs help to walk, he needs help to take his medicine, and well, every time we see him he's worse and worse and weaker. And but I was telling my son, this is like an onion. As time comes by and passes by, it's like another cover of this skin of onion. So every day your father will be having more skins of onion, but there inside is the person you knew. And this would be also for people who, for caregivers and their parents. These parents are like these onions. Every day they will be decreasing. and it will be like having more onion covers. But there inside is still that person you met at first, and it's still that person who you loved, and that person who was nice with you, and that person that gave you life and teach you to walk. And so you have in this moment to take away all those skins of onion and remember that person that's inside and the things that this person does right now. Let's read between lines and discover what is he or she wanting to tell me. Because inside his heart or her heart, he or she still loves you, and he or she still wants to be with you. And there inside, he or she has good feelings for you. So it's like uncovering all these skins of onion and knowing that there deep inside is this person you love. And well, thinking about that, maybe the moments won't be so hard to live. Yesterday was a bad day for my son, but today in the morning, he went down to have breakfast. And I told him, if you don't want to be with him the whole day, that's okay, because it's tough for you. I know you're suffering because you see someone who's not the father you loved. But why don't you take some rest? You have breakfast with him, then you rest. Then you have lunch with him, then you rest. So during these periods of rest, you can cry or you can feel your anger. But when you're with him, try to enjoy the moment and try to find that person very inside this big onion, that very there deep is the one you love and the one who loved you so much. I would encourage people who are caregivers. Let's think about a father or mother that's having Alzheimer. They didn't decide they wanted that. They didn't decide to be sick. They didn't decide to forget you. They didn't decide to forget about who they are. And they might be suffering as well. It was not a personal decision. So it's not thinking that they do things to harm you or to bother you. It's because they're sick. So I think in this moment, it's like trying to go deep inside into each person's heart. And I would say maybe I don't know, maybe there is a mother or a father that wasn't nice to their kids. But maybe she also had suffered so much that he or she gave their best. And that best made you the person you are today. And that's something to celebrate because you're alive and because you're helping him or her, you have good feelings. And because you have the opportunity to change that you didn't like about how you were treated. And I think that's something to celebrate, that you have the opportunity to change things and that being alive is the first thing to have these opportunities and this freedom to decide how do you want to live it.
Thank you so much for all your insights and all the amazing anecdotes. I hope everybody out there listening to us today had a good laugh as well.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. And I apologize for my not so fluent English, but well, I was doing my best.
Thank you so much. And to everybody out there, go celebrate something today and talk to you next week.
This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time.